Startup Podcast PH is co-produced by Sprout Solutions, Aperon, Tuala, Symph, Secuna, Red Circle Global, Maroon Studios, and Aim High. Check out our partners in the description. Welcome sa Startup Podcast PH, inspiring more Filipino entrepreneurs and innovators. We're live now in Facebook and we're live now here in Manila. We're interviewing UXPH to talk about the upcoming UXPH Mini 2020-25 in Davao, August 23, in Cebu, September 27, and here in Manila, October 18. Exciting. And we have the Managing Director, Aldrich Tan. Hello, Aldrich. Kamusta?
Hey, Johnny. Okay naman. Busy. We're preparing. The team is all hands on deck preparing for the conferences coming up now. So super exciting. But yeah, no sleep at the moment.
Yeah, busy, no? Kasi actually, as of this recording, in 2 weeks na si Davao. And I guess you'll be physically there, ano? So,
yes, I'll be
really
there.
preparations na, syempre, remote. Of course, may team doon, ano? But you'll also be flying there. And, ayun, napaka-excited actually na mangyayaring ito. And I'm sure very excited din ang ating mga designers, ang ating communities sa Davao, sa Cebu, and also in Manila. Ano? But sige, Aldrich, huwag natin patagalin pa. Ano? Maybe we'll talk about UXPH Mini, but siguro I want to know more about UXPH muna as an organization. So sige, Aldrich, ano nga ba ang UXPH?
Sure. UXPH stands for User Experience Philippines. And we're the largest nonprofit design organization here in the Philippines. What we do is we organize events, programs, workshops for designers and people who want to learn all about UX and design, everything in between, for free for the community. And what we do is our goal really is to raise the standards and practices of design throughout the Philippines kasi kailangan talaga yung ganun na na practice dito sa Philippines, no?
Actually, I think recently very trendy rin si UX/UI. Parang those two, hindi pala words, acronyms always come together, And actually that's very true, especially now ang mga Filipino designers and even programmers ay parang world class yung talent, So may mga of course may mga we serve locally, but sometimes we also serve foreign clients. So very, kumbaga, so of course, Philippines, we're world-class talents actually. So, erase pa natin ang standards and erase pa natin, kumbaga, ang mas maraming designers, ang mas maraming programmers, ang mas maraming tao. Pero siguro, Aldrich, pag-usapan nga muna natin itong UX na ito. Kumbaga, it as a concept, it as a principle, or as a practice. So, sige. Let's dive deeper muna. Ano nga ba ang UX talaga?
Okay, so UX or user experience, to simplify the definition, it's actually a very emotional thing that people experience. What I like to say is it's really how you feel before, during, and even after you use a product or service. So have you ever, let's say, walked into a restaurant na gutom ka na, pero either sobrang lala ng service nila or sobrang okay, right? Like it's how you feel during. And then how, let's say, or maybe you've used an app or even gone to somewhere na physical, like, the airport. Our favorite airport. We know that it's very, very stressful, right? And then so parang wala naman tao na gigising na sobrang excited papunta ng airport. Di ba? Kasi alam nila na masa-stress sila.
The first timer, Aldrich. The first timer.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So ayun, it's a very emotional experience. So if you've used an app, it also considers how easy something is to use, how readable it is, and how intuitive it is. So UX design is really the practice of doing that, where we get to know the customers. We do something called empathy. So we empathize with the customers and our users, and then we design for their context to make sure that, well, from a business standpoint, that their problems are actually being addressed. It also helps them with, acquisition, retention, things like that. And we can get into that with startups later. Pero, ayun, it's UX has been a practice it's been around 10, 15, more than how many years now? Pero it's only really become very formal in around the past 2 decades siguro, or 3 decades. But I would say sa Philippines, medyo bago-bago pa siya. Actually, UXPH started more than 13 years ago.
2012.
Right. So
wow.
I did not start it, actually. There were a lot of OG designers, some of whom are actually going to be returning to speak at our conferences. So they were the original founding team of UXPH, si Ellie, Christine, and folks like that. Now, and they started this as just a regular meetup na nung hindi pa formal yung UX. They're like, okay, I'm doing this thing called design and web design and things like that. And parang nag-meetup lang sila just to kind of rant and talk about it or ask for advice from each other. Yung parang support group. Kasi hindi pa talaga accepted or majorly known by most people yung UX back then.
Oh.
And then it became a regular thing that became like meetups. It opened up to the general audience. Ayun, tapos naging non-profit siya. Then when I joined back in 2016. No, maybe 2017, mga ganun. So nag-volunteer din ako. So UXPH is a fully volunteer-run organization, by the way. So everybody that's doing this is doing this out of the love for UX, love for design, and love for giving back to the community. So I joined as a volunteer, and then I really saw, like what you said, world-class talent talaga mga Filipinos, no? And there's so much potential in the communities. So sabi ko, okay, we can really do something here na we'll expand the reach and the influence of UXPH. We'll collaborate with other communities kasi madami. There's so many tech communities. There's a lot of design communities. Our co-organizers, UX Davao and Cebu XD as well. Right? They're like our cousins with the same mission.
Did they sprout? I mean, did they come into life separately?
Yeah, they did. I think they may have known each other a little bit from volunteer works or sa Facebook and things like that. But they started as well a few years later pa. Pero yun. So for us, we want to just collaborate and help empower each other. So
yeah, going back nga, when you mentioned parang back in 2012, I just remember kasi nung panahon na yan din yung parang medyo uso or parang yung web development then during back that time. And even yung mga simple paggawa ng mga programs, And I think back then, parang very, very, wala pa kang mind masyado for design.
Correct.
And when you mentioned, ang ganda actually yung parang definition ng UX na parang intersection ng empathy lalo na, yung care or parang yung consideration of the users. Actually, tama naman yun Users naman yung gagamit. So, dapat naman talaga may napakalaking empathy and consideration for them. But also, it still comes with the business side na at the end of the day, in order to operationalize or in order to sustain that product, that app, that website, it needs to be productive still on the business side. And maybe third nga, yung technical side nito, So, parang kaya rin siya maybe trending ngayon or uso ngayon or parang very ngayon kasi parang encompassing siya na approach and perspective. So maganda siyang ma-upskill din sa mga programmers, designers, etc.
Absolutely. I mean, to speak to that, you're right. It's the intersection. Design or UX is like the intersection of business constraints, user constraints, and then technical constraints. Kailangan balance lahat yan. Especially if you're like, let's say, in a tech startup or you have technology embedded. But the thing is, like, UX is not just digital, diba? Like, pagpunta mo sa airport, physical experience talaga yan sa mga restaurants. Physical din yan, diba? Pero in the digital context naman, you need to balance all of that. So that's parang I would say maybe one of the things that makes being a designer a little bit difficult but also very rewarding is if you're able to find the right designs that can hit all of those marks. Sobrang okay siya. And if you think about it, actually some of the most successful companies out there are design-led. Yung mga founders nila are designers, like Airbnb. For example, their founders are designers. Brian Chesky, one of my idols, like ang galing kasi he really was a designer first and foremost. And they're so customer centric, and that's what helped them scale, of course, and with the product market fit and all of that. And then recently, like Figma as well, actually just IPO'd, but it's a tool for designers. But the founder is a designer himself, so they really understand how to incorporate user needs and turn it into a good business.
speaking of that pala, before we go dun sa startups, of course, we're in Startup Podcast PH, pero itong community ni UXPH and maybe yung parang larger community rin or larger, kumbaga, domain of people, of professionals na dapat kumbaga, maging aware and maging upskilled and maging, kumbaga, into their principles, kumbaga, ang UX. Sino ba itong mga to? Designers ba? Programmers? Founders? Or lahat ba talaga?
Honestly, like everybody,
Okay.
it's hard to say na everyone can benefit, but it's actually quite true. Because okay, obviously number one, designers. Whether you're a graphic designer, interaction, UI, any kind of designer, even architects, there's a lot of overlap in the mentality that designers use, diba? Because design, you design, you create things for human beings. So, kailangan talaga human-centered yung mga ginagawa mo, which means you need to talk to customers and all of that, right? The other people, for example, that benefit from thinking about UX and, incorporating design thinking into their flow, programmers, product managers, because they're all building the same product. So, if the programmers or engineers and the other builders are also in touch with understanding the customer and yung mga needs nun, tsaka yung mga needs ng business, edi mas align talaga yung team, diba? Everybody is working towards the same goal. And I've seen design-minded, people in non-design or technical role. For example, if like you're somebody in customer service, because it's customer-centric, syempre, yung pag-isip mo how to serve the customer, that's really important as well, right? So people incorporating that. In fact, we did it very, very well and successfully at NextPay. And I can share a bit about that. Pero mini plug lang yun. Pero that one, or even let's say HR. If you're an HR practitioner, who are your customers? They are the internal team. And then applicants are your customers if you think about it.
Oh.
Right? You're not necessarily selling to them, but you are helping them.
Okay.
Right? So if you incorporate better process and if you think about it from a design standpoint, how can we make HR process even smoother and better onboarding, things like that? It's all applicable.
Yeah, actually, come to think of it, well, ako din naman parang ako dati, or even a few minutes before kanina lang, when you say UX, ang unang papasok sa utak mo is the consumer or the user of the app nga, ganun nga.
Yeah.
Pero when you said kanina yung like sa HR, parang naging broad ngayon actually ang user. Hindi lang siya basically, well, customer pa rin, pero it cannot, kumbaga, hindi necessarily the end customer. It can be, yun nga, the user talaga, So,
the user of whatever you're working on.
So, I think it boils down din sa parang yung principle nga na, of course, you can be technically good, you can be an expert in what you do, but you still have to integrate yung human factors or yung user factors or yung usability. Kasi at the end of the day, that's, kumbaga, yun naman ang dahilan kung ba't mo ginagawa yan because may gagamit yan. May user nga.
Yeah, may taong gagamit, di ba?
And then, siguro just to give a clearer picture lang sa UX, baka meron ka dyan mga very quick example or very, very obvious example kung papaano na-elevate ng UX design or ng even just UX principle or UX thinking. Anything. Sige.
Examples like let's say in like apps.
Yeah, let's say it's an app.
Okay.
Let's say it's a NextPay.
Yeah, okay. I can talk about the NextPay thing,
Okay.
but like I'll start first with a more general
Sige,
example. So, let's say maybe at the height of the pandemic, no.
Okay.
Lumaki talaga mga delivery services and all the ride sharing and all that. Or even actually before the pandemic, like Grab, Uber was here in Manila for a while. All the ride sharing. Now, pandemic happened and then all the delivery apps kind of blew up, right? Lumakay sila. And then now Grab, Joyride, Angkas, madaming competitors. If you look at their apps, iba yung execution nila right? But it used to be not so great, but there's a really big emphasis on that because the teams building that also know that it has to be easy to book a ride. If you're competing with all of these other competitors and then you're competing with other riders, Metro Manila traffic, things like that, you have to be able to book a ride really quickly. You have to think about the transparency, tapos yung mga transferring money, handling money. And another one is like Gcash, Maya, right? Like you, how many years ago maybe that their apps were not that great, but only recently in the last 5 years, mas talagang may emphasis na yung ginagawa nila. Like you can really see it na a lot of the UX is changing slowly. Yung mga UI na improve na siya, diba?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Tsaka, I recalled lang din, no, I interviewed it kasi, I got to interview actually one executive ng isang bank. Hindi ko na lang siguro pangalanan. Pero, parang naging core daw after nga rin ng pandemic or parang several years ago, yung pag-analyze ng customer journey when it comes sa pag-design, not just the app not just the interface but the process mismo.
Yeah.
The process, maybe sa paggamit ng bank or ng digital bank, and then actually comes after yung interface. Kumbaga kasi,
Yes.
user design process muna and system muna, diba? Right?
Yeah.
And then tsaka mo tama ba yun? And then tsaka mo
in a way, like, it's really important to understand who your target market is. Yung sino talaga yung pinaka-core na customer. And it's important to understand what they do, who they are, yung demographic nila, anong mga behaviors nila, right? So for a bank, of course, very broad ang mga user. Kahit anybody who can do digital banking, it can be a customer, right? But I think different banks speak to different demographics, especially digital banks nowadays. The pandemic really, really emphasized the need for digitalization. So, biglang dumami yung mga digital banks, di ba?
Yes.
And of course, they have to compete on good user experience because that's what helps retain people. Kung pangit ang UI and UX mo, madaming magre-rage quit nun.
Yeah, madali lumipat actually.
Madaling lumipat. Yeah, they're going to be like, oh, this is really frustrating to use, laging my downtime, or hindi ko maintindihan yung interface, sa iba na lang ako. So that's why you're seeing a lot of these digital banks have really good UI and UX.
Actually, speaking of that, I think I can mention a brand naman, PayPal for example. Labasin ko lang sa PayPal, ang laki ng font. Kasama ba yun sa UX? What do
I
you
haven't
think?
used it in mobile, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay.
Medyo, because PayPal is a US company, right?
Yeah.
So it's very geared towards US. I would say a lot of freelancers here use it, but I know that the fees are a little bit more expensive for what the people here make now. So it's very pricey to use in general. So there's very mixed reviews about it. Of course, it wouldn't have gotten to be such a big company if it wasn't good in the first place. Pero yung mga ginawa nila, like to get to that scale, there's a lot of really good things that help, I guess, make a precedent for other digital services, digital invoicing, online payments, things like that.
Okay.
So, if I may speak quickly about like what we did at NextPay, because we're talking about digital banking.
And by the way, sige, just to be lang, so Aldrich is the
CXO co-founder.
CXO and co-founder of NextPay.
Yeah. So that's a local startup here in the Philippines. So we call ourselves the digital banking platform for businesses. We say banking because we're not actually a bank, but we have all these features. We're a fintech. So we have all these features that help businesses run more efficiently. Because napansin nga namin, even before the pandemic, if you're a business owner or if you work in finance, HR, there's so many things that are so manual. As in, sinusulat pa rin minsan, or it's by check or by cash. And then when the pandemic happened, no contact na lahat, diba? And then electronic transfers were so different. All the banks had very, very different fees, very different quality of service. That's why I said like the pandemic forced a lot of digitalization. So what we did was when we actually launched no pandemic, and then ang nakita namin is the general banking landscape has really, it's pretty underserved. Like the quality is not very good. So ayun, we specialized in payouts. So transferring from a company to their employee for, let's say, payroll, reimbursements, things like that. Or also to suppliers. Kasi if it's B2B payments, madalas na puro checks eh. So we said, bakit ganyan? We don't need that. We can digitize this. We can make it more transparent. We can make it faster and lower the fees. And it shouldn't have to be that complicated. So ayun, the user experience on our platform is overall really good. Like the customers are very happy because they say this accomplishes what I need to do. Typical process for them used to take, let's say, anywhere from 3 to 6 hours to finish, let's say, payroll or supplier payments. we've cut it down to like less than an hour, sometimes 30 minutes or even less. So they get so much of their time and their day back. Kaya sobrang happy sila.
And that's a big part of experience.
Super, yeah. Because it becomes more efficient, more transparent, you have more control. And then we're very upfront and honest with our customers of what we can and cannot do. The second we catch wind of my downtime, we say, hey, my downtime, I'm pre-prepared na.
Oh, so that's
They really appreciate it.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's part of UX ba? I
Yeah.
mean, oh.
Any kind of communication, like if you're using my product, you expect me to tell you when the product's gonna be down or what's wrong with it or an error. Like, have you ever had an error on an app that just says error or sorry, it's not working?
Totally clueless ka kung
Yeah,
ano
you're
nangyari.
like, why? And then the first thing people do is blame themselves.
Yeah, hindi mo alam kung ikaw ba yung may kasalanan or
parang nag-gaslight kayo na.
Oh, grabe.
You're like, ako ba? Like, ako bang may mali, right? Tapos they get frustrated, tapos mag-rage quit sila. So, ayun. I mean, you want to prevent that. So, you want to make people feel good while they're using your app and then even after it so that they will come back.
And that's actually empathy rin, no? Going back nga sa empathy. But anyway, you mentioned that you're the CXO. That's actually quite surprising. CXO is?
Chief Experience Officer.
Wow. Napunta tayo sa parang UX for startups. Maybe I start with, do you think, and by the way, so when you started sa NextPay, you're already the CXO ba? Or
yeah. I mean,
wow.
we started it. So my co-founder and I, we started it, and we're product builders talaga.
Oh.
So some of my background actually, which we forgot to discuss. So my background is really in design. I studied general design sa college in Canada. And then, pero I grew up here in the Philippines. But I went to Canada for college, and then that's where I learned about design. Sobrang na-open yung mind ko na, okay, I tried graphic design, I did branding, I did website and all of that. Pero I landed on UX because I realized UX connects all of these things together. And I've always had parang a knack for entrepreneurship and to make my own business, right? So I married all of those things together. And then my co-founder also had very entrepreneurship tendencies. Pero engineer naman siya. So he's a really, really good engineer, software developer. And then we just work together very well. So that's why product first kami. Product builders.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I will always say, like, we have to really think about the customer and the business and find out how to work.
Oh, yeah. Actually, that's my question, Parang on the conception and on the launch, basically on the start-up panghalang talaga of NextPay as a startup. Ano na talaga yung thinking of experience of UX? Kasi, I mean, I think very rare, or baka kayo nga lang, I'm not sure, ang may CXO talaga at the very, very start, right? What do you think of that? Kasi, I mean, the usual, di ba? Mga CEO, CFO, CTO.
Yeah.
But this one, parang, and maybe the question rin is, how important really is it for startups to really, on the conceptual stage pa lang, or maybe on the validation stage, merong, not necessarily a CXO, but parang large consideration of UX or of customer experience sa pag-develop ng product or sa pagbigay ng services.
Yeah. No, that's a great question. Like, you definitely don't need a CXO in the very beginning or anything like that. I mean, we just made that my title, but honestly, I do everything.
Yeah.
Siyempre naman, founder.
Saka maybe
gagawin mo lahat, di ba? So ako din na operations, HR, etc. But we went with that. Well, one, because it really speaks to what I do. More than just design the product, I really think about the customer and the employee experience, right? And that's why we were able to build such a very good, strong culture, is because that was also, I mean, if you think about it, they're, our team they're my employees, but I can shift how I think about it to them being our customer, because our customer in a way, because we're also serving our employees with a good place to work so that they will also help us produce.
Wow, that's a good perspective. That's a very refreshing perspective.
But going back, I think the founders of any startup, if you're building a product or a service, you really, really should have the design. Maybe not top of mind, but it's in the top 3, right? Obviously, you need to figure out how to monetize it. You need to figure out product market fit, who your target audience is. But then how you design it, it actually influences the other stuff as well. Kasi, right? And a lot of people don't realize that design is a strategic tool. If you put that at the forefront, you will become more customer centric, which means you can qualify and find your customers faster, and you can retain them better. And then you can also stand out in the market na people will remember like, oh, actually, it's so nice to use. It's so easy. Tapos people will recommend you. Word of mouth talaga ang best na marketing, diba? So any kind of testimonial or praise from your customers, that's solid. So, ayun. And kadalasan a lot of people think about design as a way just to make it pretty or anything, right?
Yeah.
And that's always, every time a designer hears that, they're like, oh no, we do more than that, of course.
Yeah.
And that's the mistake a lot of teams make, is they just think that design is the afterthought.
True.
After everything else has been figured out, ayan, you skin it. That's only one part of it. But you have to design it properly first, because if you design it, you think about the architecture, let's say, of the information. You think about the architecture as well of like the code, and how everything works, right? So you have to set your foundation of your product up well. And thinking about it from a design perspective will allow you to reduce clutter, plan ahead better as well, and reduce tech debt. Because tech debt and design debt is actually very, very hard to recover from, especially as an early stage startup. Kung maaga pa lang, tapos ang laki ng tech debt mo, like, it's gonna be a waste of time, right? So that's also one of the reasons why we were able to move fast, because we were very intentional with how we built the product from the early stage.
Yeah, actually, I want to comment lang muna dun sa design na design nga. It's not just aesthetics, di ba? Kumbaga, design really is actually how you design, or how you ano bang other term for that?
How it works.
How it works really. Functionality in all possible aspects na usability sa consumer side, who are your customers nga, and also in the business side nga ano. But anyway, siguro just to para mas madaling, I'm not sure if this is a very good question, parang maybe for a startup founder, in a nutshell, in a very short like, ano yung magiging difference if they applied UX design, UX thinking, and if not, maybe on their product or maybe on their organization? Is that a good question ba? Or
what's the difference if they apply design and don't apply design? I mean, there are products man who can get by, or maybe find product market fit if they're lucky, by being a very, very technical product, right? Like, I mean,
maybe if kailangan talaga ng mga tao.
Yeah, I mean, let's say, I'm trying to think of one really big company, like even Reddit, for example.
Oh.
Like, for the longest time, Reddit had maybe not the best UI in appearance. Medyo parang
later
basic lang siya tingnan.
Dati,
but the functionality of the threads and the community building was all there.
Okay.
However, there were a lot of people complaining that they couldn't figure out how to navigate and all that. But because their product was appealing enough, people were willing to kind of tiis. Tiis how unusable it was. Now, I'd like to think na if they had worked on the UX of it a lot earlier, then it maybe would have been a more sticky product for a lot more general audiences. Another good example is Craigslist.
Yeah, of course.
Craigslist.
Pero wait lang, siya. Para examples natin, mga medyo millennial.
Yeah, I'm a millennial, yes.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah.
I mean, you can look it up, Craigslist, right? I mean, it's a very basic UI. Sobrang, it's not even, hindi naman siya pangit, pero hindi naman siya maganda. But it works. And that's always been a hot topic for a case study in my design school. Everyone wants to redesign Craigslist because it looks ugly. But at the same time, it works so well because it's just intuitive. It doesn't necessarily have to look super nice. It just has to work really well.
Okay.
And Craigslist, at least from how I used it years ago, it's just fine. Sobrang okay naman siya.
Yeah, and maybe that's design nga, you don't have to be flowery, you don't have to be aesthetic talaga. You just have to be functional the way you intend it for the users nga to use, right? So really,
So it's like a
designing.
balance of like form and function, right? Form is the aesthetics, and then the function is, of course, how it works, right?
Okay.
So depending on the situation, you might need to prioritize one or the other, or really find an equal balance of it. So yeah, I would say design is a balancing act of everything, and that's what makes it great and also very difficult, but very fulfilling.
Sige, now maybe going kay UXPH Mini, and maybe yung question din kasi dito is, now that maybe ako rin, I'm more aware now, and maybe other founders out there are more aware ng importance ng design. And maybe i-connect ka natin kay UXPH Mini ito, which is coming na this August in Davao, September in Cebu, and October in Manila. Now, if a founder, or if anyone, a programmer, a designer even, want to learn about paano nga ba talaga ina-apply ang UX design, UX principles, so how can they learn? How can they,
Yeah. Okay. So that's a good question, because I mean, UXPH and the other communities, UX Davao, Cebu XD, we put out events regularly for people to attend and learn, right? So that's one way that they can already just start either attending themselves or sending their teams over to the meetups to network and just learn from the speakers who are really doing this because they love to share, and they love to help others learn as well. So that's one way. And then with the conferences, one thing we really like to do sa program namin is sobrang medyo it's a very packed program. So it's 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Full day siya. Right? And then we have speakers in the morning. We have keynotes, lightning talks, and some panels in the morning. And then in the afternoon, there's a hands-on component. So puro workshops naman siya sa afternoon. That way, it's a balance of like technical skills. So you can learn things like Webflow, Figma. We have some AI prompt engineering things as well that are happening there for design folks. And then there are also, because a lot of our base is also students looking, or career shifters looking to get into the world of UX to learn more about it. We also have some entrepreneurship topics, just to learn how to balance your business acumen with your creative acumen. And we also have resume and interview workshops. So yung mga nagda-job hunt, this is a good place to do it because you get to upskill. And then we have a lot of partners and some sponsors looking to hire designers throughout the Philippines as well. Right? So all of that is a great place. And now if you're a startup, you can go here and then you can find, students and other professionals willing to try out working in a startup. And then you guys can work together and learn more about design and how to incorporate that. So sobrang madaming check boxes.
Are these pala ba? Like parallel sessions din siya? Parallel ba siya?
Yeah, in the afternoon we have 2 tracks. There are parallel sessions going on.
May tracks din. How many attendees ang expected?
Yeah, for the mini, I would say it's intimate. Mga 200 to 250.
Marami na rin yun.
Yeah. Actually, in the past, the last time we did this was in 2019. So, pre-pandemic pa siya. We did Cebu, Davao, and Manila as well. And then yun, mga 200 to 400, maybe 500 ang mga attendees.
So, if that's pre-pandemic, baka ngayon, baka more pa? Or i-limit niya ba into...
Yeah, we're just limiting. We're keeping it small because in 2026, we have bigger plans to make it really big.
Okay,
so, more announcements on that soon. Pero mas malaki pa yung program dun sa 2026.
Is payroll processing taking too much of your time? Introducing Sprout Payroll Starter. For as low as 5,000 pesos per month, you get a team of experts to help you with your payroll and HR needs. We'll help compute and process payroll, handle all your government compliance requirements, and automate timekeeping. Leave the payroll to us so you can focus on growing your business. Enjoy peace of mind with Sprout Payroll Starter.
Trust the digital future with Twala. Secure and tamper-proof digital signature. Electronic notarization service. And custom AI agents for intelligent document workflows. Visit twala.io to learn more. In today's digital world, your organization needs more than just technology. It needs a strategic partner. At Symph, we build web and mobile apps that drive innovation for startups, enterprises, and organizations worldwide. Visit symph.co today.
Protect your assets from bugs before bad hackers exploit them, and launch your products seamlessly with Secuna, your trusted partner in cybersecurity. Receive reports in real time and work with security experts to find bugs in your products before others do. Let's make your security our priority.
Running a business? Make it smarter with Red Circle Global. Streamline operations, boost productivity, and manage everything in one powerful ERP system. Book your free business demo today at redcircleglobal.com. Guided by one of our top experts.
Wow. But anyway, because may Davao, Cebu, Manila nga. I mean, how did that idea come to be na parang, of course, may UX organizations then in these places, pero like yung pagkakaroon ng mini conferences in all these three places. I mean, why not just Manila only or
Yeah, that's a great question din, no? So, ayun, I mean, we thought that it would be great if we brought the conference to them, to those communities, right? Because ayun, we knew Cebu XD, we knew UX Davao, and they already were doing their own thing in terms of creating events and reaching out to the community. They were very active din sila. But a lot of people would see UX conferences in Manila and they're like, oh, I wish I could attend. Pero sometimes flights are expensive, may accommodation, may ticket pa. It's not really that accessible, right? So we said, okay, well, why don't we go there? And at least we get to showcase and explore, like, okay, look what all the rest of the Philippines also has to offer. It's not just in Manila. There's so much talent everywhere. There's so many students and professionals that really are just have so much talent to show. Sobrang okay. And then we get to meet people. I've met some amazing people all over the area, all over the Philippines, and we just want to showcase that. We want to show, and we want to parang unite because we're called UXPH.
Yes.
It's not UX just Manila, right? It's UXPH. So we want to really help. Our mission is big. We really want to help it for the Philippines. Para sa bayan.
Para sa bayan. Wow.
Pero ayun, we decided, like, hey, we reached out. We said, hey, let's collaborate. Tara, let's make these and see how we can bring more of these programs. Kasi we're all united talaga in that love for design and community.
Yeah, speak about that pala, no? So UXPH, UX Davao, no? UX Davao, kumbaga, like, they will be the lead din talaga of organizing this mini conference in Davao. And then sa Cebu XD nga, kumbaga UXPH and Cebu XD, right?
Yeah,
XD. And then sa Manila, UXPH.
Yeah, but everybody's supporting everyone.
Okay.
As in, yung core organizing team, we're all helping each other in all the legs. So it's really a united effort there. But of course, they have their local roots there. So a lot of the volunteers are from their cities and their region coming out. So it makes sense lang naman.
Ayun, i-reiterate lang natin, so the UX Mini 2025 in Davao will be August 23, which is a Saturday, right? Then this is 9 to 6, right?
Yeah,
9 to 6. 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Then sa Cebu, UXPH Mini in Cebu is September 27, also a Saturday, right?
Yep.
Also 9 to 6.
Yes, they're all 9 to 6. They're all Saturdays.
And then in Manila is October 18, also Saturday, also 9 to 6.
Yeah.
And then yung specific venues, wala pa or meron na ba?
It will be announced very soon.
Okay,
I think
okay.
actually baka within the day.
Ngayon na. Okay.
Within the
Mamaya
day.
na. Okay.
So final na. Pero ayun, actually for the Manila one specifically, what's happening on October 11 to 18th is actually Design Week Philippines. So we're working with Design Center of the Philippines, the government a branch that really specializes in showcasing and elevating design throughout the Philippines. Right, so they're supporting us as well. That's why we put it at the very end of Design Week. So you get to see all of the showcases, and then it ends with one of our events. Of course, in their program, but then we're helping each other out there too. So, and we super love working with them because we get to at least showcase the UX side of design, while they really focus on a lot of other types of design, the broader facets of design.
Anyway, so If our listeners baka meron ng gusto dyan sumali pa sa UXPH Mini, so saan nga ba nila makikita ang mga announcements? Sige, share mo muna.
Sige. So, the number one is the Facebook group and page, UXPH Official. So just go ahead and look it up on Facebook. And then we have Instagram, Twitter, or X. It's all there, UXPH Official. And then our website, uxph.org. The conference website is 2025.uxph.org. So that's where you can look at the program and the speakers, which we're announcing as well now. And then that's where you can also buy tickets.
Yeah.
So,
Is it right to ask magkano nga ba ang tickets dito?
the regular ticket for Davao is starting at the regular ticket price is 2,750. But that is for the full day. Again, that's for the full day with the workshops, tapos may lunch and
Yeah,
fees,
actually,
all of
parang sulit na yun.
super sulit. Promise. Like, it's full day talaga siya.
Yeah,
So at the end of the day, you'll be exhausted, but you'll be inspired and you'll have grown. I don't know, like the energy that we felt, even on the online conferences namin, the energy is really great. Like, you really see the community come out. And yeah.
Yeah, tsaka the speakers will be announce
Yeah,
soon.
they're actually maybe if it's
Mamaya.
not out already, or either tonight or baka it's being shared right now. But yeah, we have some really great speakers,
Okay.
mga leaders of design or people who are design founders as well, who have made their own business. Are really good, and all these folks I've met or come across, and they're really just happy and excited to also give back to the community.
Okay, so abangan natin sa Facebook page also, and I think in the website, and also in the group, yung venues and the speakers. Very exciting,
Yeah.
Um,
You can already see the program on the website, so you have
okay.
dyan na din mga topics. We're just teasing all of that, but you can really see that it's quite a nice range and variety of topics.
And then siguro just to wrap up yung sa event mismo. You mentioned kanina rin na parang students din ang target, So parang ano ba yung nakikita yung kumbaga composition ng magiging audience or ng magiging participants, kumbaga. I mean, so
Yeah,
professionals even.
Yeah, so it varies actually per city ang napansin namin, right? Like, but this is like from 6 years ago. Okay? So like Davao, when we did it, madami din naman talaga professionals. Not necessarily designers. So there's designers, there's career shifters, there's engineers, some founders, they're business folks, right? And then there were a lot of students, maybe like 50%.
Oh, marami.
40 to 50. Marami din, because they're really curious about this.
Oh.
And actually, that's the other thing is like, there's a lot of academic programs, but there are no like dedicated UX programs. But there are like in those programs from data that we've gathered, meron naman parang hints of UX. But a lot of these students are curious to learn more, and they really want to know, how can I learn this to supplement my growth? Tapos sa Cebu naman, there are lots of, Cebu is such a creative city. There's a lot of professionals who come out talaga.
Yes.
So anywhere from juniors to seniors, mga leaders na, lots. And then Manila, it's a very wild mix as well. People with communication background, engineering, product management, sobrang diverse. But we're all aligned na we know or we're curious on how design can help us with our roles.
This October 18, I really want to go.
Oh, you're we'll see you there.
Yeah, so see you there, See you sa mga nakikinig pa dyan na baka gusto umattend nga. So see you there. Anyway, sige, now, siguro last part na lang ng aking interview sa'yo kasi all this, parang this whole interview, and I think other people who knows you, for example, you do UXPH, you're the managing director now, but UXPH is actually a non-profit, So this is also really like a very, very passion project somehow for you. So, first of all, although tinanong ko na kanina pagdating ko dito, how do you balance being a co-founder sa isang very big startup in the Philippines, I mean, very sikat, si NextPay. So, you're a co-founder there, and you also do this UXPH, you direct. And ngayon nga na may upcoming event, So, parang how do you do that? And saan nanggagaling yung passion, kumbaga?
That's a good question. So in terms of, work-life balance, I would say I'm kind of a workaholic, right? So I really am dedicated to my work, and I really love, like just the work that I do. For NextPay, like our teams are trained very well to run the operations, the customer operations very efficiently. So after training them, medyo naka-hands off na ako na okay, that they really ping me for anything really urgent and things like that, right? And of course, like sometimes there will be situations where we need to jump in into the front lines and help out. And it happens every so often. That's fine. But a lot of the things, if you are able to systemize operations and systemize like the product building properly, it becomes a lot easier.
How did design, kung ba nakatulong ba ang UX or ang design thinking, design principles sa systemizing yung operations?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Right? Like super. So for example, how we systemize customer service and how does customer service lead into product building, right? So of course, customer service, we have extended hours compared to like the incumbents, like mga banks, kasi banks close at like 4 or 5 p.m. Kami hanggang 6 or 7 p.m. nandun pa because we know that people are working late, business owners, may pahabol sila. So we open that up. And the team is trained to really think about how do we not only help the customer with their problem, but how do we also learn from their situation, right? So aside from like, okay, well, here's your problem, we'll still ask for feedback. We'll still ask for, okay, well, can you tell me more about your situation? What's going on? And if there is an opportunity, we'll also educate the customer. This is why this is happening. Just for next time, para alam mo, ganito siya. Now, after that interaction, we'll take the insights. Our team members will say, okay, this customer, they'll report back to the product team. We found a really interesting insight that the customer does this. So when we get a lot of those insights coming in, that also then informs how we build the product, right? Because we will then have qualitative and quantitative data that says, hey, I don't know, 50 or out of 60 customers are asking for this, or they're encountering this problem. We need to diagnose, or we need to look into this on the product side, or we need to design a feature that does this, right? So parang mas na-flow siya.
Yeah, tsaka big part din talaga yung feedback. Pagkuha ng feedback. Tsaka yung pag-prioritize, kumbaga.
Super,
how do you add design features based on those feedback and then into your product?
Exactly. Yeah, and because we did that, we developed a really, really loyal customer base. They not only love our experience and our customer service, but they refer people because they're like, NextPay, they really listen to you.
Experience.
The experience is good. They really listen to you. Sobrang okay customer service nila. And to the point that they are now voluntarily giving us feedback kasi we'll always ask them, kinukulit namin. We're like, hey, if you don't mind, kukulitin ka namin for feedback ha.
Okay.
And then they'll be like, hey, I have feedback for the NextPay team. Ito yung problem ko. Right? So it becomes a really good relationship with our customers. And that has really helped us build a much better product because we understand what they need as a result. So, ayun, if you can systemize all of that and how it builds, sometimes we would even schedule customer calls and literally invite our engineers to sit in and ask the questions. Para they are upfront with the customer, and then the feedback loop, it's unfiltered insight that you're getting. Right? So that has really helped us with that. And then going back to the original question, how do I balance it? Well, like I said, just really, really passionate about helping others learn about design. I love education. I think it is so crucial for everybody to just keep growing and learning. And then, ayun, like parang I'm giving back what I wish I had when I was growing as a designer and trying to figure out my career, right? So, and it's just nice, just mentoring other designers and even founders. When it kind of, you see the light bulb moment that goes on when they're asking questions. And then maybe a little later you reconnect again. Parang their career has grown. It's just really, really nice to see. And then they also then give back to the community. So we've had a lot of volunteers who, grew their careers. Tapos they come back to give talks. Tapos nagpa-volunteer din sila. So it's a really nice pay it forward.
Pay it forward, yeah. Tsaka that's how you build a community actually. Yung mga dating natututo, sila na yun. And kumaga naka-benefit rin talaga,
Yeah.
Parang ano rin, magiging, parang napapas din yung passion di ba?
Yes, exactly.
So that's how you grow the UXPH community, I guess.
Yeah. So paying it forward, and then every time like we'll have a lot of newcomers to UXPH events, for example, and I always say, okay, who's first time? Sinong first timer dito? Madami. And then when they leave, we always get good feedback at the end of the event. They're like, wow, the community is so warm and I feel so accepted. Kahit na introvert ka, even if you're shy, you'll always leave with like one or two or a few new contacts. And we've encountered a lot of people na medyo lost. As in like existential, like, what am I doing? Should I career shift? What is this UX thing? But they always find people that are also maybe going through the same thing, right? So parang you end up growing with those people as well. So,
by the way, so meron ba parang networking part do sa Mini? I mean, merong like social time or maybe sa lunch or maybe sa ano?
Yeah, I mean, throughout there's little breaks, of course.
Okay.
I mean, you're all sitting there together, and then there's lots of activities. There are networking portions, so lots of chances to meet people and find jobs maybe or find new employees.
So meron din mga booths yung
we'll have some booths as well. Like I said, some of our sponsors are actually actively looking to hire new designers, right?
Okay.
Throughout the Philippines. So ayun, if you're job hunting, it's also a good place to go.
Ayun, actually, I'm very excited na sa October 18, maybe doon ako pupunta kasi andito ako ngayon sa Manila. But maybe if you're in Davao, ulit, August 23, in Davao City, venue is to be announced. Baka actually later na, or when we publish this sa YouTube and Spotify, baka andun na. So check na lang sa Facebook page na UXPH or sa uxph.org, right?
Website is 2025.uxph.org.
Yung for the conference, yeah.
Specifically.
And then Cebu, September 27. So ang ating listeners dyan from Cebu, so abangan. And I think this is very exciting to go to.
Introducing Aim High. Smarter construction management starts here. Monitor costs and progress with real-time insights. Plan ahead and adapt with streamlined scheduling tools. Make data-driven decisions to avoid costly delays. Increase efficiency and profit with Aim High.
So thank you so much, Aldrich, for our conversation about UXPH Mini and UXPH and UX din as a whole, siguro ulitin lang natin. Sige, finally, it's coming from you. So, can you invite our listeners, baka meron dyang mga students nga or professionals, programmers, founders even, na who want to learn about UX, about design, and they want to attend this UXPH Mini or maybe yung mga iba pang events ni UXPH, So please invite them and lead them to wherever they can get more information.
Yeah. So thank you for listening, and please check us out, uxph.org for the main website, 2025.uxph.org for the conference website. Like whether you're a student or you're already working in the workforce, regardless of your role, if you come out to these our conferences, you will learn something new, and you will learn a lot of actionable tools and insights that you can already apply no matter what role you have. Really, really inspiring stuff. And then you get to learn from the stories of the speakers and the workshop facilitators and just meet such a diverse crowd and community. So please come out and check it out, and then I'm sure we'll meet in the events as well. So come say hi.
See you there.
Thank you.
Ayun, thank you so much, Aldrich, and thank you sa mga nakinig. Salamat. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much to our 60 patrons. This episode is super powered by UXPH Academy, our official e-learning partner with certifications on Lean Six Sigma, product management, data science, and more. Pixel by ePlayment. Turn content into opportunities and funds into real community with Pixel by ePlayment. Sign up now at pixel.eplayment.co. School of Profits, Filipino-led community for aspiring freelancers, VAs, agency builders, and online earners. Built to help you start, grow, and earn online together. Founders Launchpad, our ecosystem partner. Early stage accelerator providing venture capital funding, operational support, and mentorship. Hire Busy Solutions, provider of the most configurable cloud-based payroll system in the Philippines. Agile Data Solutions, the Philippines' fastest growing market insights tech company with data gathering platform HustlePH. Smile Checks, streamline hiring and onboarding with automated background checks. Cloud CFO, cloud accounting service provider for businesses ready to grow. Cloverly Tech, all-in-one digital platform for property developers. Paddy Beaties, accessible and personalized diabetes self-management application. HKB Digital Services, tech-based business tools including payroll, ticketing, and loyalty rewards. Hyperstocks, digital banking enabler for rural and thrift banks. One CFO, CFO services, bookkeeping and tax and payroll processing for startups and small businesses. Unawa, driving digital transformation with secure, legally enforceable electronic signatures and robust AML compliance. School Tech, all-in-one AI integrated school and learning management system. Better Support, a Manila-based BPO company. They have a referral program for people who can bring in new clients. You might know a Western-based business that needs better support. Britanna, enterprise-grade ERP solution that fits a small and medium business budget. Wonder Brand, data science-driven brand strategy and design for emerging markets. East Point Business Outsourcing Services, one-stop shop for streamlined business solutions for MSMEs such as business registration, bookkeeping, and more. Doon, Philippines' first fully insured peer-to-peer car sharing marketplace. Divico Technologies Incorporated, IT solutions specializing in software development, blockchain smart contracts, digital wallets, and cybersecurity. Looking for buy and sell online with Sigurado sellers. NutriCoach, personalized nutrition and weight loss programs for you. This episode is powered by Lablog, Sugbodok, JIA Engineering Solutions, Algacon Aquafeeds 1 Alj, Grey Wolf Technologies Philippines, Pareto Consulting, Jure.ph, Big Giant Games, Pahatid PH, Wistless PH, Tech Tribe, Yay, Uplift Code Camp, Board Prep, Dohey Philippines, Edfolio, Hive Rooms, Kazam, CodeSham, Sirius MD. Support the podcast through the links in the description.